Welcome to a brand new edition of It's All Relative. I'm Josh.
I'm Sarah.
And today we'll be joined by one of the guitarists from the band Rubixx. We'll get to know a little about who he is and what the band Rubixx is all about. We'll also discuss the beginnings of his music career as well as bands that have impacted him and a health battle that was overcome. You guys don't want to miss it, so turn it up and let's get it rolling right here on the It's All Relative podcast. So what's up, Sarah?
Not too much. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm looking forward to the warm weather we're supposed to be getting.
Yeah, it's getting hot quick.
Yes. Had a tornado warning earlier in the week. That was fun.
Did we?
Or yeah.
Oh, I didn't even pay attention to that.
Oh, that's good.
So I guess I'm glad that shit didn't happen then.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I want to incorporate something new in the start of the show, and I want the listeners to get used to the term Sarah's Fact of the Week, okay?
Yes.
And so with that being said, Sarah?
All right, so just in the theme of music, I figured that this was appropriate. I actually played violin for 8 years. I started in 4th grade, and I played up until my senior year of high school.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Putting time in.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't the best at bringing the instrument home from school, especially once I got to high school, or attending my lessons once I got to high school. But that's also because my high school schedule was much more complex, and with my, period, the scheduling and what period I was here, and the school I went to is so big that getting to where I had to go sometimes was relatively impossible. And missing class, stuff like that. But yeah, I excelled, to where I did, and I was proud of what I did in orchestra. So
why didn't you continue?
I think afterwards, right after I graduated, I started working because I knew I didn't want to go to college. So I think that I just kind of focused on doing that. And it just, I still have my violin, I own it at this point. It does need to be restrung. It deserves a good cleaning. I know I needed a new bow. I knew that before I graduated, to be honest with you. It's something that I think I could pick up again, and it's muscle memory. You never really forget how to play an instrument once you start like that. So
awesome. So. Yeah. Fact of the week, violin player.
Yes,
Sarah.
Violinist.
Awesome. Are you ready to dive into today's episode?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Our guest today speaks the one universal language that everyone in our world understands and connects with. He is one of the members of the band Rubixx. Ladies and gentlemen, rockstar himself, Robert Mahoney.
Oh, man, that was an intro right there. I like
it. Always, man. Thanks for giving us some of your time and agreeing to come on It's All Relative. We greatly appreciate it, bro.
Happy to be here. Very excited.
Yeah, man. It's great to see you.
Yeah.
Been a while. The shows that we've done in the month of May, they've been special to me because our guests that we've had, you and our previous one, I haven't seen in such a long time. So that shit's pretty crazy.
I just got finished listening to the author you guys had on. I guess that's the most recent episode, right?
Yes.
Shout out Travis.
Yeah. That was a pretty good episode. That was pretty fun to hear. I liked the whole process. It was very interesting to hear his take on self-publishing, especially for a musician, and how much you have to do that on our end as well. So it was kind of cool to hear someone within a different creative sphere talking about it. It was cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Pretty rad.
That's awesome. So let me ask you then, bro, real quick before we start. You a fan of podcasts?
Yeah, actually. I go through like weird phases where, I'm out on the road. My day-to-day real world job is an on-the-road salesperson, so I'm in my car all day. So I go through phases where I listen to podcasts and then usually back to music and then podcast music.
Nice.
Yep.
What's one podcast that you listen into?
So I listen to specifically, there's a couple. One that is an industry-specific one called the HVAC Jerks. It's a couple friends of mine who do an HVAC world-related podcast. So if you're in the trades, you would like it. If you're not, you might not. There's a little bit of something in there for everybody. They do like things they call jerky bits, which are kind of just like off-the-wall kind of fun pieces. But
nice.
If you're not in the trades, you're not going to like that. And then I'm a huge fan of the Dan Le Batard Show.
Nice.
Formerly on ESPN. So that's kind of like where I go for my fun sports stuff.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. The reference to the jerky thing, whatever. Was it from Jerky Boys?
You know, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think that's where they got it. It's certainly a part of it, but you know, they're unique characters, and they just kind of they kind of embrace the fact that they're kind of jerks in the HVAC world. It's cool. They've gotten a lot of play. They do a lot of stuff and do a lot of trade shows now for the industry, which is really fun. So
Awesome.
Dope. All right, so let's get into some content right now, bro. You play the guitar for the band Rubixx.
Yeah.
How long have you been with the band?
I've been with Rubixx now for a couple of years, probably 4 years, roughly. I've been with them. Started out, just kind of joined up with those guys. They were already an established band before I got there. Previous band that I was in had broken up. I ran into Frankie, our other guitar player and lead singer. I was asked him if he was still doing the music thing. He was like, yeah. I said, well, I am too. Let's do the music thing together. So we got started and kind of we're at where we are now.
Do you know, since you said you just joined, or the band was already together, did you know where the name came about?
You know, I don't. And I sent Frankie a text message a little while ago. I probably should have done a little bit of homework beforehand. It has something to do with the movie. There was like an independent film that him and a friend of his were working on, and it had something to do with that, because I very specifically asked at one point why there was 2 X's.
Yes.
Yeah. So Rubixx with 2 X's at the end, kind of
specific.
Yeah, I was like, this is a very strange reason, and there is a reason behind it, which escapes me. So if he texts me in the meantime, I'll update you guys. But
well, it stands out. It makes the name stand out for sure.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a fun name. I had played with them in former bands. We played at the Chance with Fuel and Marcy's Playground.
That's dope.
Before I even joined up with them.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was, Frankie still busts my chops. He's going to enjoy this part of it, because I was doing like a little Instagram story, and I'm like promoting the band. I'm like, hey, come out and see us. We're playing with Fuel, Marcy's Playground, my band Visits, and some band called Rubixx. And like, I didn't mean it in any kind of disrespectful way. Right? He was like, and some band.
Right.
Now I'm in some band.
That's cool, man. That's a good lineup.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun. Fuel was great. Marcy's Playground, those guys were super down to earth. Like, Fuel had a tour bus.
That's
Marcy's
awesome.
Playground came in like a little 12-passenger van, and their roadie was obsessed with Diamond Dallas Page yoga.
Oh, wow.
It was like the weirdest thing. Like, he was all about just telling us, you got to try this Diamond Dallas Page yoga. And I'm like, dude, do I look like the type of guy doing yoga? Like, nah.
I will say I don't do it, but I do DDP yoga. That shit I've heard does wonders.
Yeah.
I'm a big wrestling fan.
Yeah.
So I do keep my ear to the ground about that stuff. But what type of music would you say Rubixx plays?
We're a rock and roll band, right?
Cool.
We're very much in the lines of Foo Fighters, that type of thing. We do, as kind of our for fun and trying to make money as a band thing, we do 90s alternative covers primarily. We'll throw in some other stuff, but like,
nice.
When we got to go out and fill 3 hours of music at a bar on a Saturday night, it's mostly 90s alternative, because that's what I grew up listening to. It's
right.
what I love.
And it's a lot of classics. A lot of people know them, and they'll sing along, and they get into it,
Also, a little secret for you guys: 3-chord songs. That's all they are. Like,
yeah.
It's so great.
It's just the lyrics, really. You gotta.
I don't really have to worry. That's Frankie's problem. Like, I just have to play up there and play C, G, and D, and I'm good to go.
Right, as a guitarist, you got it made, bro.
It's great. It's great.
You guys write any of your own songs?
We do.
Awesome.
They have actually, the album that they did before I was in the band is on all the streaming platforms, which we'll promote later. But they wrote a whole album. We play pretty much all of that stuff when we go out and do original songs. Like we did like a 4-band original night at the Newburgh Brewery a couple weeks ago. And we are currently working on writing some new stuff. We're going to take a couple of the old songs that now have a little bit of, my guitar flavor on them now.
Awesome.
And re-record those, as well as a couple new ones. We got, 2 or 3 songs that are kind of in the works at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Fun.
How many members?
There are now, we just actually got our 4th member.
Dope.
We've been, the band has been plagued for quite a long time. They had a bass player, Mike, for years, who's great, super nice guy, but he kind of focuses now on his photography career. I think he owns an antique shop or something of that nature. So he kind of, him and his, I believe, girlfriend at the very least, kind of focused on that life. And
they outgrew it.
Yeah, he just kind of didn't want to do that. So he left. I kind of jokingly say that he hated me so much he just quit as soon as I joined the band. But he's great. We get along really well. And a friend of mine very recently had posted that he was looking to play. And I'd kind of forgotten that he and I had been in a band years ago. And I was like, hey, listen, man, we've been looking for a bass player for a while. So my buddy Josh, we affectionately call Yoshi, just joined up with us, and he's crushing it. So, yeah.
So you mentioned you guys have played at the Chance before. You've played at the Chance. You also said Newburgh Brewery. Are there any other places that you guys have shows at or have played at?
Yeah, we'll play anywhere. If there's anybody listening who wants to, hit me up and hire us to play somewhere, we'll play anywhere. We played randomly a pizza place, and it sounds like a very strange place to have a show, but it was kind of fun because we had this group of people sitting out in front of us. It was over in Middletown, and they'd had a couple beverages.
That'll do it.
They're just calling out songs, and like I said, 90s alternative, they're all basically the same thing. So as we're calling it, Frankie, our guitar player, the guy's like a human jukebox. Like, you name a song and he can just start playing it. He just
That's awesome.
off the top of his head. So
I'd kill for that ability.
it's impressive. It's insane, like how quickly he can just do it. And so we start playing some songs, and the guy was like, "Will you guys play a divorce party?" I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing, but yes, absolutely.
Why not?
But
that's hilarious.
Some of my favorite spots locally. I mean, the Chance is just always been a great venue to play. Growing up and playing there was amazing. The first time I played there was nerve-wracking as shit. It's just I've seen so many bands on that stage. So that's always a cool spot to play. But then, just really anywhere, any bar that'll have us locally, we'll go out and do a 3-hour, 90s alternative set. Or if they're willing to put on some bands locally who have original stuff, we'll get, a group of guys together and do some original music. So
that's awesome. Yeah, it must be real special thinking, going back to the Chance about like going there and seeing shows as a kid, and then being an adult and then actually putting on shows for others to see. That's pretty. That's awesome.
Frank, who was the former owner of the Chance, who unfortunately passed away this past year, he was amazing for putting on bands. I've been playing at the Chance since I think I played there even before I could drive.
Oh wow,
that's awesome.
That's cool.
They always gave a shot to local bands. They would do local nights with bands who were playing original music. So there was always an opportunity to play there. So I was very fortunate to have some place like the Chance Theater where like David Bowie's played there.
Right.
Like, what
historic, man. It's such a historic spot.
Absolutely.
Even just, Fuel even, it's just like having them playing a show with them, getting the opportunity as a local band to open up for a band like Fuel and even Marcy's Playground to a degree. Like, it's just, they always gave spots for local musicians to play. So it's great. It's a cool part of history. It's cool to have been on the stage. It's all around just a very fun experience.
Yeah, it's awesome because growing up and shit, like you listening to songs from Fuel and Marcy's Playground, and then you get to actually have a show with them.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who doesn't enjoy Sex and Candy from Marcy's Playground.
Exactly.
That's the only song I know, but everyone knows.
They have other songs, obviously, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but
it's just
that era was like the one hit thing, right? All the 90s bands, there's that one jam they had, and that jam was solid.
Yeah.
That's facts. Talk to us about what emotions you go through before a show.
I'm weird before shows. So this is a great question. So in previous bands, it's an emotional roller coaster, right? The whole experience is very strange because there's like nerves and energy and all that stuff kind of like building up for you. But like, I'm the type of person, like, I just like to find a spot and lay down before I play. Like, I just kind of want to just kind of like lay somewhere and just kind of be on my own and just chill. And like, And the other guys in my band's like, it, they got the energy, right? They got the
Right.
build up, right? They're shaking. They're like kind of
adrenaline,
hitting you in
yeah.
the ribs.
Getting
They're like,
hyped.
we're doing
Yeah.
this. We're about to play and everything. And formerly a band that I played with, my buddy Nick, he's so enthusiastic about this stuff. Like loved it. Like just loved that feeling right beforehand.
And you're over there doing yoga.
Like, yeah, and I'm just sitting there like, bro, I'm trying to take a nap. Right? And
Crazy.
and we would just get up there, but when I'm actually in the moment of playing, it's almost indescribable because it's such a weird experience because you've got people there depending on where you're at, like even if it's a small crowd, feeding off the energy of people there to see you and watch you perform is something that's unparalleled. The couple times recently that we've played the Chance, it's been sold out.
Awesome.
Nice.
So, the crowd has been, and we've been in a position where our band was playing at a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd was already in there. So, I have a video of myself like turning around kind of corny and everything, like filming myself with the
With
crowd.
everybody,
Hell
of
yeah,
course.
freaking
Hell yeah.
out. Like it's like I was
You have to document it from the start, because
That's
you're going to look back on that and go, shit, look at where we started. And
Yeah. And I was, calm and just kind of hanging out beforehand, and then like when I got up there and like took the video, I'm like, man, this is
No.
a real thing.
That
Never-
shit's insane.
never
bro.
be embarrassed to take that video or the picture, ever.
I am certainly not embarrassed.
Yeah.
Never embarrassment has never been my thing.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, but it's fun. And then kind of shortly thereafter, the emotional roller coaster of it is I kind of just decompress afterwards. I like to go out and talk to people, and a lot of people come up and want to say congratulations and things like that, and that's super fun. It's cool to meet people and then sit at the merch booth and sell some of your
There you
shit
go.
so you can actually make some money.
Hell yeah.
But yeah.
You got a particular show that stands out to you for a bad reason?
Ooh, yeah. Unfortunately, we had. There's been over the years just a couple that actually stick out. Like it's not really one specific. Usually, I'm pretty hard on myself when I don't play well. I've gotten over it. Fortunately, my parents are kind of have instilled this over my musical career. That nobody else really knows the stuff the way you do. Nobody really knows our original material the way that I know it. But, if I miss something, I'm pretty heavy on myself about it. We had a disaster of a last show for my band before we broke up. Everybody was messing up. I go back, there's a video of it, and I go back and I was really I was terrible. I was playing awfully. And to the point where actually one of the bands who was there that night, I was talking to him afterwards, and he goes, yeah, he's like, they can't all be great, right?
Oh,
and like,
my
damn.
God.
and he was, it sounds bad.
Very.
He meant it in a nice way. We're still friends and everything, but like he was just like, it was rough, man. We went down in a ball of flames, and that one
hurt.
Yeah, still to
Yeah.
this day stings a little bit. And the thing is, like, we were so good as a band. Like, and I'm not, trying to toot my own horn, but we were legitimately good. We were good live. We played well. We were very tight live. It's just, everybody has an off night, and
It happened to be that last one.
that was the one. It was way off. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, we weren't even,
Noticeably off.
yeah, real bad.
Been there.
Yeah, that does suck.
Yeah.
You got a favorite band that you've done a show with? Like, that you guys have opened for, or that you may have been the headliner?
Man, I have played with amazing bands over the years for different reasons. I don't know that I have one specifically that sticks out. I have ones that are cool, right? Like, we played with a local band called Just Surrender, who got some pretty big notoriety. And that was cool just because, like, they're local hometown heroes to a degree, so it was kind of fun playing with those. Recently, now in the Rubixx days, we have been playing with these guys in a band called Junket. Again, local guys, they do their own thing. Those guys are amazing. I genuinely enjoy finding those bands that nobody knows. Like, I'm going to mention a band we just played with at the brewery called Kingston Kane. Those guys were awesome. Like, and it was like the surprise of the night. I had listened to a couple other things going into it to kind of I had never heard of them before the show.
Right, yep.
And I went and listened to a couple of the things, and they were so fun. They were so nice. They were so cool. Like, there's such a vibe when you play locally with some friends. That kind of, it's almost indescribable. The coolest band I've ever opened for, it was definitely opening for Fuel. I mean, that was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
They're by no means my favorite band that I've opened for, if that makes sense.
Right.
Very cool.
Let me ask you real quick then, bro. What made you choose the guitar?
I was bad at drums.
Okay.
Yeah, I started out, I wanted to be a drummer.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a drum set originally. That was my first instrument, and I'm not that coordinated. I'm a better drummer now, but
Right.
still nowhere near as good or like even
Close. Yeah.
I shouldn't be playing. I can count to 4. That's about the extent.
See, but at least you knew and no one had to tell you, like, hey, you know.
Yeah, I have, it's funny, my family, they're very supportive and they're very honest. They're very open, so
Very
they got me
important.
a drum set and, they always supported me, whatever I wanted to do for music, which was amazing. But they would, also say, maybe this ain't the one,
Yeah.
and my dad always played guitars, so like there was always
okay.
guitars
There you
around my
go.
house, so I just kind of started picking it up and took to it, and I loved it, and
Yeah.
Nice. I was going to ask a few questions to kind of go back down memory lane, since we had said, we have known each other for a long time. I do remember, I was going to ask, I remember your dad being in bands and whatnot when we were kids.
Yeah.
And he's still doing music.
He does. So he moved to North Carolina, so he doesn't really have a band, but like one of the greatest things was my dad, my brother, and I were all in a cover band for a while.
Oh, wow.
Well,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. It was real fun. We played a couple shows. We'd go out and do the cover stuff, and we'd bridge kind of a gap because he had his friend Scott, who was our drummer, and they all listened to. They were diverse in their music, so we took some stuff that they used to listen to and some stuff that my brother and I liked, and we kind of mixed it together and played it. So yeah, he still plays. He and I have a guitar rivalry going. I'm currently beating his ass because I've got more guitars than he does.
Right.
So yeah, he's still playing.
That's awesome.
Probably wants to play a bit more, but yeah.
Nice. Good for him. And then let me also ask you, because from what I remember, your brother Dan, shout out Dan, I remember he doing the drum thing.
He doesn't play music hardly ever anymore.
Okay.
I think he's still got a guitar at his house in case he wants to kind of noodle around with it, but he kind of
Just faded.
Yeah, he diverged from the path. It wasn't really, just wasn't really speaking to him as much anymore. But he always made me mad in a good way because he's infinitely more talented than I'm ever going to be, in that he can just pick stuff up and play it. Like, he would just get behind a drum set and, like, with no theory or knowledge of theory, just start playing and just be able to crush it. Like, it was, and then he would just pick up a guitar and he'd be like, oh yeah, I can just play this. And I'm
Just
like,
instinct. Like how?
how can you play that? I can't play that. I practice every day. I know the theory behind it. I know what you're playing. Like, and
He's just shit in a past life.
yeah, and he's filthy with it. It's great.
That's awesome. I do. I mean, I guess, right? Everyone's dream at one point in time, I guess, when they're a kid, everyone wants to be a fucking rock star, right?
Absolutely.
And let me tell you, because from personal experience, playing a musical instrument, playing the guitar, that shit's hard. All right. and I do have one memory, and I want to talk to you about it real quick, bro, because it's literally like I felt maybe 15 seconds, right, of my life, like I felt like a fucking rock star, right? And I remember, bro, I don't even know if you remember, but I was going through that phase where I had wanted to learn how to play like the guitar and whatnot, and I had gotten one for a Christmas, and I remember going up to the house one time, your house, and bringing that shit with me. And I remember super simple, but such a well-known song, the Today from Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
I remember you had taught me, the little beginning part that everyone knows. You know what I'm saying? And I remember picking at that shit, doing that, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, after the third, fourth time, I just remember you on your guitar coming in, playing the rest, and then your brother on the drums. Yeah. And like literally for that 15 seconds, bro, I felt like a rock star.
That's awesome.
For real. That shit, and I still remember that memory. I keep that with me because like I always think about like it'd be awesome to be able to be on a stage and fucking doing your thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like in that quick second, because I tell you what, like that shit is difficult. You know what I'm saying? And I faded. Obviously, music is not my thing. I listen to everything, but like playing it, so I respect everybody that plays it. But yeah, that's a memory that I hold close to me. My 15 seconds of being a rock star.
That's awesome, man. That's that right there. That just made my heart so happy. Actually, like, so yeah, that is what. If there is anything that music is all about, that's what it is right there. It's like that bond, something that you can kind of hold on to forever. Like just the fun times, the stuff that really shouldn't have even been a moment, but becomes a moment. Yeah. Right? Like it's just, it's so cool when that stuff hits. Like, yeah, we still play today, by the way. Yeah, that's, I could probably teach you the beginning next time we play. You can come out and do it. And
that's awesome.
We'll get you on stage. Yeah. It's fun.
So let me ask you then, how often do you practice or play?
Daily. Yeah, I play all the time. Yeah. Even, you know, when I'm traveling for work and things like that, I bring a guitar with me. You know, I'll keep one in my hotel room, even if I don't necessarily get, you know, as much time as I want to. I'll usually at least try and pull out my guitar and play for at least 15, 20 minutes before I go to bed.
Dope. That's dedication. Yep. That's how you know when someone when someone loves something, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
It's the best way to decompress after a day. Like just sitting down with the guitar and
focus
just kinda,
on and listen
you know,
to.
And then just zoning out, just playing a couple chords, just open chords is just it's a good way to kind of relax. Yeah. You know? Forget about the day you just had.
What's been the most difficult challenge you faced when playing the guitar?
It's currently actually because I just started giving lessons.
Oh, okay.
So it's terrifying.
Oh, wow.
So in a great way. I'm so nervous that the person that I'm teaching is going to get better than me faster than I can keep up. Like, so it's just like, so I've been actively, you know, researching and trying to find better ways to improve my technique and realizing flaws that I've made over the years in just stuff that I kind of taught myself that isn't really proper. So trying to fix some of those things and make sure that I'm not passing them on, because that's what's really the paranoid part about it, right? Is I don't want to teach a future generation of guitar player. Like
I mentioned earlier, muscle memory, that can be difficult to change too. Once you've been doing something for a little while, absolutely.
Painfully so.
Yes. And you get mad about it too at times.
Yeah. Well, again, exactly. So like, there's stuff that I know how to do. I'm like, you know, I've been playing guitars for decades now. And so
it works, damn it.
I know that I can do this, and I'm like, but that's not really the proper way to do it, right? Like just positioning your hand on the fretboard, things like that, how you hold your pick even, like I'm really focusing on some of that stuff. So that's been the frustrating stuff, is like very recent for me. Is just like, getting into some of the detail that I never really paid attention to back in the day. But frustrating in a fun way, though. I mean, it's, you know, it's cool and interesting to be learning.
You're right. I was going to say, learning new stuff.
Because once you get it, you get over it really quick.
And it's making me a better guitar player. You know, it's actually, I can actively see changes, you know, when I look back on a month from, you know, a month ago and a month before that even. The active small switches that I'm making are making me actually better. So it's nice.
It's awesome.
You prefer playing I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was about to say, always room for improvement, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You prefer playing the electric or acoustic?
I like both. They're different depending on what we're trying to do. Like we have kind of a stripped down version of what we do, which is just like 2 acoustic guitars, vocals, and a cajon, which is like a little box that our drummer sits on.
I love those things.
Those things are great, right? Yeah. I was unaware that was an instrument until like a couple years ago.
So I started watching like stripped down versions of songs like that. Again, during that, we were talking about it earlier, the YouTube era, just watching like little live performances and stuff. And I saw that one performance. I was like, that's awesome. And like the sound it produces is awesome too.
It's
like
cool,
it's
yeah.
just, it keeps the beat real nice. You know, it's nice and low key. It's not too in your face. So yeah.
Yeah, our drummer has now a setup where he's actually got that set up with a kick drum pedal.
Oh, okay.
And a snare that he puts like a t-shirt over with like a brush.
Oh.
So that way we got like a little bit of a kind of small like a cocktail type drum kit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I like doing that because it's a quick setup.
Yeah.
You know, it's fun. It's a little bit more intimate. I feel like, you know, we can play it at a more controlled volume indoors. So people so that I love. Plus just like an acoustic guitar with new strings on it. Best sound. Mm-hmm. It's the greatest.
Yes.
But then, you know, there's nothing better than getting down and turning my amp up to 11.
Oh, yeah.
Spinal Tap
Deafening people.
And just
Hell yeah.
crunch, the crunchiest crunch, and just hitting an open E, just, you know.
That's awesome.
There's nothing better than that. Like,
feel that shit straight in the chest.
That's it, man. Just like, pushing people out, like people literally feeling like their hair getting blown back because the amp is pushing so much noise, you know.
Yep.
Yo, you wear earplugs and shit when you be playing?
Yeah. We have actually. We just upgraded everybody on the band to in-ear monitors.
Nice.
I didn't for a very long time, and that's probably going to come back to haunt me.
I was going to say.
I always think about that when I see anybody perform. I'm like, oh, can you hear okay? Like,
yeah. I was going to say. I remember when I was younger, going to shows and stuff, and when I would leave, I swear to God, I would be like,
you had
holy shit, I'm deaf.
on.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't hear, and I was like, oh my God. But then, you know, obviously,
the in-ears are a lifesaver. They reduce the decibel level, and then we can actually hear what everybody's doing, so we can have our own mix of what everybody's instrument is. So it's
like these, except
awesome.
in your ear.
That's exactly it. So, and it's drastically changed things. I should have been doing it for a long time.
Save your hearing. You're gonna want that later.
Yeah.
Do you, I guess, create or come up with your own riffs or solos that you do in songs?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's that's more so what I do than anything is I sit down and write original stuff.
That's cool,
like,
bro.
Do you have a favorite riff that you like to really fucking...
Oof, like a favorite riff by somebody else?
Either or.
Okay.
Original or someone else.
So favorite riff is to play by somebody else is the beginning of Welcome Home by Coheed and Cambria.
Okay.
That riff is just super fun to play. That's probably my favorite riff to play by another band. As far as favorite riffs for me, I got a couple that I wrote over the years that I just really enjoy. Mm-hmm. There's one from the band that I was in before Rubixx, and Frankie, our guitar player, plays it all the time at practice. And so he and I will just kind of noodle on that riff, and it's a fun riff to play.
Yeah.
I don't love it as much as I used to, but that's just because I've heard it so many times, but that's a fun one.
All right. Awesome. Yeah.
Let me ask you, bro. You ever busted a guitar to shit, like on stage after a show?
Okay, so in my younger years and more aggressive years, I broke a guitar over a kid's head one time.
Oh shit!
Holy shit, bro!
Yeah, it was bad.
Was he? Was he cool about it? Or like, did you?
He was not cool.
Okay, I didn't think that was like
whoa.
Like, was this like a bet that he lost, or
was this a fan?
Not anymore.
Oh shit!
That is the most funniest shit. Not anymore.
So I used to play, you know, really heavy, aggressive, like metal, like breakdown stuff. And back then, when I was just a wee lad and enjoyed this type of thing and could move around like this, I would go out into the crowd and, you know, swing my guitar around and throw kicks into the crowd and stuff like that. And I came around.
Was it an electric or an acoustic?
It was an electric guitar.
Oh no!
I broke the headstock over the kid's face. I broke his nose.
Dang.
Yeah, I was about to say that's some heftier metal there.
Yeah, and I felt terrible about it. I didn't realize. I obviously realized I broke the guitar because pieces of it were all over. But after we were done, a buddy of mine lent me his guitar, which is a really foolish thing. You just saw me break a guitar over somebody. Like, why would you then lend me a guitar? Like, probably wasn't smart. But so I borrowed my buddy's guitar. We finished out the set.
Guitar intact at the end of the set?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
My buddy's guitar I took care of. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. it's one thing to break your own guitar.
Yeah,
Breaking
you
somebody
can't. That's what I was
else's-
about to say.
Right. So the guy, actually, his friend came up to me and, really had a lot of words for me. Rightfully so. It's
Right.
like broken his friend's nose. Yeah, it wasn't great. I tried to apologize. I was,
Shout out to that guy.
all
Hope
like-
you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he's fine now. I hope, no irreparable damage was done. I haven't seen him since.
Your nose is all right.
If you're listening, I hope your nose is okay.
And thanks for listening also.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Maybe I'll see your name and go,
He's going to come to the next show with a guitar and
karma.
Either way, that's a hell of a story, bro. To be able to, rockstar breaking somebody's nose.
it was rough, man. I didn't feel great about it.
No,
Not a proud moment.
No.
A
no.
moment, but
Yeah, I legitimately felt bad about it. Like, it was just, I obviously didn't really want to hurt anybody. I mean, in metal and in the pit and stuff like that, people
Yeah.
Right.
get hit. It's a thing that happens.
Yeah, people are already getting a little beat up in there.
Right, yeah, so it was already kind of like happening, but I obviously, I didn't want to break anybody's nose or, I tried my
happens.
best to apologize, but
Shit
such is life.
happens.
So yes, I have broken a guitar.
That's awesome, though. I mean, I shouldn't say awesome. You know what I mean?
Because you had to ask.
It is a very rock star moment. If I felt less bad about it and embraced it more, it would make me sound cooler, maybe. Like,
Right.
but,
Well, I'm
You know,
saying.
I mean, it means you're human. That you can't.
I'm saying, bro, how many people can be like, who like do that shit? How many people, most people say like, yeah, man, I just fucking bust my guitar. Like, I break their drums, I break everything on stage. But how many people can actually say, yeah, shit, man, I broke my shit over
Yeah, let's
somebody's
not
face?
forget that shit costs money too, though. Like,
and they're solid pieces of wood.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not that they're easy to break. Like, you got to actually do some work to break a guitar. Like,
yeah,
it's
that's why I asked about the electric too, because there's a little bit more metal on those, and
Yeah.
then the acoustic. And
my Les Paul. It's a solid piece of wood. Like,
Yeah.
the body of it is like, you're not.
Right.
You'd have to take a chainsaw to it to cut it. Like, it's not.
Thick as shit.
Yeah.
He's lucky, I guess. The only thing that broke was his nose. Then like not the eye socket or anything.
Yeah. I wasn't with him much after that. They did not want to be friends.
Again, shout out to that guy. Hope you're okay.
They did not attend the after party.
I didn't think so. Probably it was in the hospital for them.
You got a favorite style or type of guitar that you use, or brand, maybe?
Yeah, I have been a Gibson Les Paul person for years. They do some weird things as a company that I don't particularly love, but with that they try and sue all small guitar makers.
Really?
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of stuff where like guitar makers were trying to make similar body styles and
Oh, copyright kind of thing.
yeah. So it's just, it is what it is. They got to protect their brand and everything, but it's just,
That's one thing, but then it's like the gatekeeping. Like they can slightly modify it and sell it as their own. Like that's
exactly
every company does that.
Right. But
look at Great Value.
Yeah, they're good. I love
Chocolate sandwich cookies. They're fucking Oreos.
chocolate sandwich cookies. Gibson is where it's at. That's always been my brand. I just recently got a Fender Meteora that I played, and I really like that. I don't know that it's going to switch me over to Fender necessarily, but I do really like it as a guitar.
There you go.
Nice.
It's guitar 16 or
Options.
17 now, so
Damn.
I was about to say options.
yeah.
Where you store all these shits at, bro?
In my studio.
Oh, that's dope.
You got the racks up. And
True
hang 'em
rock
up
star.
there,
Yeah, I got them. I got couple hanging on the wall. I've got ones in, the important rooms in my house so that way, just if I want to grab one and play,
Readily
when I can.
available.
Yeah. So
That's
I've
awesome.
got some in
bro.
different tunings and things like that. I've got some weird ones, like a 12-string acoustic that I.
Oh, shit.
It's not really weird, but I play it.
Damn, that's a lot of strings.
It's
though,
too
bro.
many strings.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
It's-
that's
holy
overwhelming.
Yeah. I got a 7-string also. I need more than 6.
And
You're just
there's
trying
some
to
people
show
with a
off.
crazy range of fingers too that can fucking do it.
Tossin Abasi from Animals as Leaders, that guy is ridiculous. That guy, just his fingers are insane. Like, I'm never going to be that. It's just not happening.
Yeah, not to mention when I was playing violin, I also had surgery on my wrist. So this was obviously the hand I was up with, my left wrist. So that was also a fun little setback as far as moving fingers and getting that going.
Ooh, yeah.
So I actually didn't have physical therapy after my surgery because the doctor knew I played violin. So he was like, that can be your physical therapy. And yeah. That inspired me to definitely practice more. Had to.
Yeah, that's good. That's definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
You ever break any fingers, bro?
I broke my ring finger on my fretting hand twice.
And then
I have like the
can't play, right?
Play.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah,
this
that was
pinky
bad.
is a little like it does that weird locking thing, and that always fucks me up.
Yeah, that's got to be tricky. I can't imagine that would be
yeah,
really.
yeah. When I go to like extend or anything like that, it's an issue.
Sure.
All right, let's take a quick break. All right, and when we come back, we will hear about some of Rob's mentors and bands that have impacted his life, him being in a music video, and a battle that he overcame. You don't want to miss it, so make sure you come back with us right here on the It's All Relative podcast.
In the game now, shit's the same now. Explode next mode. I'm the same how. Don't say you know me, just say you did. When you see me sliding off to another crib, boom in the game now. I'm the same how. The rap game will never be the same now. Don't say you know me, just say you did. When you hear YO, say that's that shit.
Welcome back to It's All Relative. Still with us in the studio, Robert Mahoney. So, Rob, what style of music would you say is your favorite?
My favorite is really kind of heavy, like a mix of kind of like metal and southern dirty rock is what I listen to a majority of the time. But I listen to just about anything other than especially modern country, which I think is just kind of garbage. It's just my opinion on it, you know. But it's fine. If people like it, that's cool. Like it's not for me. It's just not. It can stay out of my wheelhouse. That kind of like pop country stuff is just it's nonsense.
I feel you, bro. I mean, my music taste is very broad. I like to listen to different things at different times. You know what I'm saying? But country is definitely not one of them. So for me, you know what I'm saying? Just like you had said.
Everyone just turned off the podcast. They were like,
right.
all right, y'all
It's okay. Wait. Don't leave yet because I'm still a country music fan, so it's okay.
Oh, good. We've got
right,
someone to
see?
save them then. That's good.
Better not have clicked off.
Yeah,
It's
listeners,
fucking
come
rude.
back.
Garth Brooks was like, I'm out. I was going to listen to this whole thing. I'm done now.
So then, what are a few, for both of you, what are a few of your favorite rock bands or metal bands? Or
My, my all-time favorites are Every Time I Die. They actually just recently broke up, which was, a slight tragedy for me. More so for them, I imagine. But,
Right.
They've been together for, 20 plus years of my music influence. Them, Circa Survive, Coheed and Cambria are probably like my top three like bands that influence the way I write and, really kind of made a strong impact in me over the years.
Yeah, I grew up listening to a lot of AC/DC, Bon Jovi, bands like that. Nickelback is one. A lot of people don't like Nickelback because they don't want to admit it, and they only dislike it because they're too afraid to, they just want to agree with people. But they've got some good songs.
That's a weird hill to die on. I feel like you're not going to get much support.
But
there.
you know what? I think I will. You'd be surprised on how often I've been seeing shit about that. Actually.
Well, you know what the thing is, obviously people listen to them. They wouldn't be so universally known if
I
people
bet
didn't
you
listen.
actually, and it's true. Sorry to interrupt you, but on TikTok, one of their songs was getting a little bit popular on there, and suddenly everybody was a fucking Nickelback fan. All it takes is one or two of them, and it's
People are weird. That's I gotta
fucking
say,
bandwagon.
Yeah, bands like that. Like one thing that people get on them about is they're like, every song sounds the same. That is.
But look at hip hop music and whatnot.
Well, not even that, but like that's my biggest pet peeve is when people say that, because if I find the formula for a song that is great and it works and gets radio airplay and gets regularly recognized by people and people enjoy it, why shouldn't I, as an artist, go and try and recreate that again?
Right.
Not the exact same thing, but something very similar. Like that's kind of the goal, right? Everybody really liked this song.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I try and reproduce that in maybe a slightly different way? For more popularity. Like people always kind of gave Nickelback. Listen, I'm not defending Nickelback. I don't particularly like them, but I have
respect
reason that I don't like them. Like
yes.
I respect the fact that they were putting out consistently, similar songs.
Yeah.
And did it on such a big stage, but it's not for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely artists who I will prefer to listen to other than Nickelback. But yeah, no, I mean, they're not the worst.
I did not think a Nickelback conversation was going to happen today.
Yeah,
Of all where we were going.
Neither did I.
It only came up because, like I said, I've just been seeing it a lot, so it just popped right into my head. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, damn, Sarah, you probably are in the low majority. I haven't ever
like
met
I said,
a Nickelback fan, so this
my
is cool.
music range, it goes from a whole bunch of things. I could be listening to like the Grease fucking soundtrack at one point and then be like down in my sorrows with 3 Days Grace the next. Like it ranges very far.
I respect that, and I understand. Like I said, I usually listen.
Like I said, it depends on the day, the occasion.
Right, I usually listen to like hip hop and rap and shit when I'm driving and doing my usual things. But like when I'm working
a lot of that
out,
shit sounds the same.
when I'm working out, like I'll listen to like different forms of rock music, and like other times, like I said, my shit is very broad. You know what I'm saying?
I think we should do. Excuse me. I think what we should do is actually over the course of this, if you guys want to grab your phones and give me like your last recently played stuff. We can do that as we're going between questions.
Absolutely.
Because I'm always curious to what people are listening to.
Well, for me, it's crazy because I just have separate categories.
All right. Well, you guys are looking. I'm going to go ahead and do my list of a couple of things that I've been listening to recently. So hopefully this will give people some ideas of stuff to listen to. I was recently turned on to this band called Moving Mountains by a gentleman that I met from Vegas. And they're pretty cool, older band. Lydia, the new Cave-In, which is pretty hot fire so far, that just came out this week. Evergreen Terrace, Chunk, No Captain Chunk, which is one of my favorite band names of all time. That's been kind of a recent one.
Shout out Goonies.
Yeah, exactly. 4 Years Strong, Lush Life, Phantom Power, Harm's Way, Knock Loose, Dance Gavin Dance. That's kind of like my most recent. Oh, and then Rick Springfield. Out of nowhere, coming in hot. Jesse's Girl showing up in the list.
Yeah, I don't know too many of those though, bro.
Yeah, that's good. That's kind of the idea, right? Is go and listen to some of that stuff. There's some pretty good stuff, a pretty good mix of stuff in there for people.
I do like that because I like hearing about new music because I really don't listen to new music. I listen to older music, and the reason why is just because my personal opinion, like I just think that new music is pretty much shit.
There's a lot of bad new music, but there's also a lot of good in there,
right?
Yeah,
I haven't found them yet, so I'm always open to listening.
The tricky part is, just like anything else now, the technology has come to a point where like you can record and release music so easily that everyone is doing it. So there's such an overabundance of it. They're sifting through for the good stuff. Like it used to only come to you because the good bands were the only ones that could get into studios and actually release music. Mm-hmm. Now everyone, if you got a guitar and a computer, you can plug in and start playing. So there's a million different things. So it has become a lot harder to sift through and find this stuff, but there's solid new music out there. There really is. You just it takes a lot longer to dig through the rubble to find it.
I mean, I've got a whole playlist on my phone of just older songs. I mean, like I mentioned, Bon Jovi, AC/DC, The Eagles, Elton John. I've got some Green Day in there. Can never get enough of that. I'm sorry.
Nice.
Paramore. Let's see.
Let's go back to the Green Day thing real quick because I'll mention right now because I was going to ask you guys if you had a particular song and whatnot that may have impacted you at some point in your life and whatnot, or a favorite. You know what I'm saying? And like one of mine is a Green Day song. So
is it?
Yeah.
What song is it? I'm curious.
It's When I Come Around.
Yeah.
I don't know why, bro, but I think it also has something to do with, like we had said, going back. I remember being super young I believe and around the time when Dookie, had just come out, recently come out, and like I remembered that song or Basket Case, of course. But then I remember When I Come Around very distinctly, and I don't know why, but and I remember hearing it with you. You know what I'm saying? And still to this day, that is probably, like I said, my taste of music is very broad, but that is probably still, to me, one of my top 3 all-time favorites.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That is very likely what I'm going to put in and listen to when I'm on my way home, actually. I haven't heard that album in so long, but it's got so many great songs on it.
There you go.
It's Green Day was iconic. I mean, it's, whether you liked them or hate them, I mean, that's just,
right.
They brought that degree of punk music to really, really predominance in mainstream. It was pretty wild to see.
Bro, that big, Green Day was so impactful, like, to me, in my life. You know what I'm saying, too?
Yeah.
So, like, I actually have never really ever met anyone that doesn't fuck with Green Day. And I'm sure there are people out there, but
there was a lot, when they were coming up, there was a lot of people who, like, hated that they were, selling out, quote unquote. But that's another one of those stupid things, because, like, selling out is the greatest thing on the face of the planet. Like, like, who doesn't want to get money to make music like that? Sign me up. Like, if anybody, it's just like that. That's the greatest thing. And it's, they were still playing fast, aggressive punk rock, but it wasn't punk enough for some people, I think, was the problem.
Yeah.
You got a favorite song, or you want to keep going?
No, I don't really. That's my thing. Is like I don't have particularly a favorite song because I enjoy so many different types of music that it's like I could pick out a few favorites from each genre.
Yes, so could I. Like that. So do that. Give me one of your favorites.
All right. One of my favorite from Guns N' Roses, "Sweet Child of Mine."
Okay,
it's an awesome one.
Yeah.
Can you play that on the guitar, bro?
Probably could. Yeah. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I could play it. Yeah.
There's a Simple Man rock version by Shinedown that I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
That's up there.
Deftones did a cover of that as well.
Did they?
Yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a good fucking song just as is as well. And then Bon Jovi, just in general, I mean, he's fucking awesome, but probably it's a good fucking jam. You Give Love a Bad Name, Just driving, fucking going fast. I love driving to songs like that.
Nice.
Oh, and real quick, go back to the what Green Day stuff do you have on here?
Let me look. So pretty much the basics: Holiday, 21 Guns, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Wake Me Up When September Ends, American Idiot.
So a little later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was born in 2000. All right, easy.
I know, that's wild.
Oh my goodness, I'm so old.
I feel the same way. Yeah, no, I feel like some of their best ones were, back when we were younger.
Before you were born.
Yes, before I was even a thought.
Oh man. You
know what other song I really, really like? Do you like The Used at all?
I do, yeah. My drummer in a former band was he was a much bigger Used fan than I was, but I like them.
Blue and Yellow, to me, that song was another one that was super impactful to me. Like, I really like that song. Yeah. But like I said, getting back to it real quick, I don't have like a particular playlist of things. Like I said, I have just a bunch of, like, they're all categorized, and I just usually press shuffle depending on what I'm in the mood for. But like some of the stuff, like I said, the shit ranges all over the place. I'm trying to remember, in the last few days when I was driving around, there was, of course, some Biggie, and there was probably some Nipsey.
Yeah.
But then, like, when I was working out and whatnot, there was some Korn, and recently some Newfound Glory. My shit's all over.
Yeah.
I do really like their Dress to Kill was another song that they have that was impactful to me.
Yeah,
as well.
Newfound Glory was great, man. I mean, they're still doing their thing. It's impressive to see them still out there doing their thing. Newfound Glory was a cool band too.
Right.
I really enjoyed them.
Yeah, the ones that have been going for so long, I really respect too. Like, I I mean, I don't think they're together anymore, but Blink went a long time. Blink 182, and
I guess they're still technically together. They got the I forget what the dude's name is. That's terrible, but yeah, they've split up.
I know
What's his name left?
Tom plays in Angels and Airwaves.
Yeah.
Who's the guitarist? Or excuse me, the drummer is Travis Barker,
And then Mark Hoppus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark and Travis, I think, still do things. And Travis is all over the place now because he's like dating a Kardashian or something, right?
I think so.
I think that's a thing. Yeah.
Fucking. Don't get me started, please.
So we've covered Nickelback and the Kardashians. We took a turn in a direction that I did not anticipate.
Listen, Kardashians is more out there than Nickelback on a freaking episode about being in a band.
That's
so.
true. Yeah,
That's all I'm
absolutely
gonna
right.
say.
Yeah.
Defend myself
You're
over here.
But what about you, Rob? You got like a few songs or whatnot that that are your favorite or have impacted you?
Yeah, it's such a funny thing because picking any one song is such a difficult thing to do, and that's such a cop out to do. But one of the most like iconic songs for me, just that represents and kind of cements a time in my life, was Ebola-Rama by Every Time I Die. It was off the album Hot Damn, and it was just like, it represents such a time where like my friends and I, we were, living our best lives. We were just going out, we were partying, we were hitting concerts, we were traveling to concerts still. We'd drive 2 hours to a concert just to drive 2 hours back. So it was just, 3-day music festivals, things like that. Like it was just, hotel room sing-alongs, things like that. Everybody would pack into one hotel room. There'd be, 7 or 8 of us in there, and just, it was just
Fights over the bed.
yeah. I mean, what the funny thing is, like, there wasn't even that. Like, we were all so like relaxed and so friendly. Like, it was just like everybody just kind of like just chilled and slept wherever. Like, nobody was really like trying to like. We were all broke. Like, we were spending all our money on CDs,
all on the same
and
page,
stuff. And merch, and so like it just. We didn't really have the money to be like, I'm getting to bed or this time. Everybody
picky,
just kind of slept wherever. It was fun. So that,
That's awesome.
there are other songs along the way that just, they kind of memorialize certain pieces of where I was in my life. So, but that's one that's always stuck with me, and, I'll put it on to this day. And I'll rock out just as much, probably hurt my back. But,
hey, it is what it is. As long as you have fun.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
It's awesome when you have those special memories in life with that perfect song or theme song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you click play on that shit and then you kind of just go back there, and that's special.
Yeah, music has a way of doing that. This is what I love about it. It's it's one of the reasons that I still love doing it. I still love playing. Is just it can transport you to any kind of moment in your life and just bring you back in good ways, bad ways, tragic ways, amazing ways. Like it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a certain guitar player that you've drawn some inspiration from?
Yes. Again, I look specifically, the guitar players from Coheed and Cambria, obviously Claudio, Travis, Jordan Buckley from Every Time I Die, and his name is escaping me from Circus Survive. Like he used to be in a band called This Day Forward as well. Someone's gonna know his name, hopefully. It's guys like that have always, that's where my biggest influences have come from. I mean, it's easy to look back and, look at legends and, Slash, as we mentioned, Jimmy Page and stuff like that, right? Like those are iconic guitar players that obviously you can look back at and say, hey, these guys were great, amazing players. Just when it comes down to what really influenced the way I write now, those are really some of the guys who did it for me.
Okay, so then, in your opinion, then, who's the best? Who's the best guitarist in your eyes?
Ooh. I don't know, man. That's such a strange... It's a great question, but it's such a strange one because, even just the 3 bands that I mentioned, they're different genres, right? So it's like, if you're looking for someone who is technically good, it's going to be someone like Stevie Ray Vaughan, right? Like it's going to be someone who's just filthy with it. I mean, there's just so many good guitar players. I don't know. It's a hard thing to put a crown on anyone because they all do things in a slightly different way. I mean, like you look at just like B.B. King, the way he played, and it was just a different style. Like, would he be the technically best guitar player? Probably not. But you know, you can't have what you have in blues and rock without him. So,
Right. No, I respect that. Then so many people are at the top of their game in their different sections.
I'm discovering. I have a friend of mine, Eli Van Etten, and he is a very accomplished guitar player. And he keeps, every time I talk to him, it seems like he's got another guitar player that I've never even heard of.
Right.
And he's just like, yeah, you should know this guy, this Tim so-and-so. And I'm like, I've never heard of him. So I look him up online, and I'm like, this guy is shredding, like melting my computer screen as I'm watching the video. It's like, it's just filthy. And I'm like, how did I not know this guitar player exists? But there are just so many people out there. It's a crazy thing to see.
Nice. Talk to us about the previous bands that you've been with. How many?
Ooh, how many? This is like weird. It's been a lot.
Okay.
I feel like you're asking me how many girlfriends. It's like a very strange, like personal, weird question. For some reason, I'm like, should I say it out loud? Does that make me a band person? I don't know.
A
band hopper?
That wasn't good. Sorry. Whatever. It's been a lot. I mean, I started in bands, again, before I could drive. You know, so I was getting dropped off by my parents to a barn in Marlboro, New York, to play heavy music in the top of a garage that was like on top of a barn that was going to fall down.
Yeah, right.
You know, and that's where I started. You know, we started playing shows. It's
nice.
You know, it's been dozens of bands over the years in different forms and different success levels.
Okay, so then let me redirect the question then to what was the general or main reason then of the initial breakups then?
Mostly because I'm a jerk.
Okay.
So I always tell people, you know, being in a band is like being in 5 relationships all at once.
Right.
There's a lot of personalities. There's a lot of creative differences. Everybody wants to write. Everybody wants to do their own thing. Most of the times now when I get into bands, because I've, you know, come to a certain point in life where I've kind of realized exactly what I want out of a band, I tend to be very blunt with the people I join up with now and just say, look, you know, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to write. This is the direction I want it to go. If you're cool with that, let's rock and roll and play some music together and have some fun.
Yep.
If you're not cool with that, then go find somebody else and have fun playing music with them. Like, it's just so most of the time differences come up. No band ever breaks up before they play a show.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the one, like, weird little thing that happens is, like, as soon as you play a show, everybody gets these ideas, right? Like, we're the greatest band ever to do it. Like, you know, everybody loved my part during the song as opposed to your part during the song. It took a lot of years for me to realize that every person in the band has their piece to contribute.
Right.
And sometimes the best thing you can contribute is literally turning down your volume and letting something else shine, like letting the bass come through or letting the drums come through or just the vocals. So it took me a long time to get that. And I think, you know, when I reflect on it, there's a lot of things that I probably could have done better as a teammate in that relationship with the band to help keep some of the bands together. But it's, you know, it's a lot of bullshit that happens.
Well, that's big of you to admit and say. And it's a big step. You know what I'm saying?
It's easy to say now.
I respect that. Yeah. You were in a music video with the band Visits?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It is on YouTube.
Yeah.
First, talk to us about that whole experience.
That was really fun. It was unique. That was the first time I ever did a music video. We had a friend of our singers, I believe, was the guy who ended up doing the video. We went to the studio. John Niclario owns a studio called Nada. He's got platinum records and everything. He's the guy that, you know, comes up in the beginning of the video and it says overqualified super producer because he really was better than we were. Infinitely. He's just sick. So he offered to let us use his studio to shoot the video.
Nice.
We kind of came up with this concept where, like, I walked in with like this ridiculous like feather bow on, like a, you know, cocky rock star guitar player, and our bass player was the nerd with taped glasses and everything. And then like, as we're kind of working through all these kind of stereotypes, eventually, like when we come in for the final chorus, everybody's just in regular like band clothing, and it was fun. Really weird to have someone like have a camera like right in your face while you're playing guitar and like pushing it in and pulling it out.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like standing there playing
You're
the same thing over and over again. Like,
Feel a little uncomfortable.
it was a little bit weird, but the final product was really cool. Something I'm really happy with and proud of. It was fun. It was a lot of fun to do. Long day,
Nice.
but fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like for us as kids growing up, like MTV, you know what I'm saying, actually played music videos. Right. And so like I can still remember, being a young kid, like on summer days, like inside your house, like just chilling, watching music videos, you know what I'm saying? And like I feel like they're special to people our age because it brings back like a form of nostalgia.
Sure.
Like we had said, unfortunately now, like, MTV, totally different.
It's not the same.
It's ruled by catfish and ridiculousness.
But that's actually, funny enough, that's what kind of made it special and fun for me. Like I never thought that would be a thing that I would do, right? Like you said, I remember growing up, we would watch just, whatever it was, Total Request Live or whatever it was at that time. MTV had all the videos and everything, and I was like, man, that's so cool. Like, then actually making one was surreal.
Yeah.
But still fun. I mean, it's got a whole, I think 7 views or something like that, but
No, I mean, I think
proud of every unit.
Yeah, no, I think it's super dope to see you in a music video. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's awesome. Like, and I have watched the video. The song is called Spotlights.
Yep.
Right. You did some good guitar work in that, my man.
Thanks.
There was a part, like where you could definitely hear, you putting that work in.
Yeah. So all the guitars on that album were me. All of the guitars. That the bass is obviously our bass player that was there. But all the guitar work, a majority of the stuff, we kind of like it started off with concepts of ideas that I had written with the drummer in that band. Nick and I had been together for a long time, just doing stuff on and off over the years. We started writing some songs, started kind of coming up with framework, and then Steve came in and he crushed it. Steve was our bass player. He still plays with me in a band currently, and he's filthy. He came in and just put his touch on it, and I was like, it made the songs completely different. And then Luke, the singer, came in, and he's absolutely insane right now. He's got a couple bands going on as well. And it was cool. It was good to have all those guys. It's super fun to play with guys who are that talented and who can just add an element to something. Like you come with a riff to the studio and you're like, okay, well, I got this idea for a riff. And like, you're always a little bit unsure of yourself, right? You're like, oh man, I hope the guys like this. I hope they don't laugh me out of the building. But then, I'd come in and Steve would write like this walking bass line over something, or Nick would put in this fill like that, like lasted over measure 1 into measure 2. And like, it's insane. And then Luke would phrase some kind of verse over it, and I'm like, you guys are geniuses. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, it was definitely impressive, bro.
Thank you.
And definitely something to be proud of.
Yeah.
Did you have any part of writing that song?
Yeah, I wrote that song. Yeah.
Like the lyrics and shit too?
Oh no, not the lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah, Luke did the lyrics.
So,
I wrote all the guitars.
That's dope.
And then everybody else kind of did their parts. Again, we do it kind of as a collaborative effort. Like we try and get everybody involved. It's just most of the time when I come into something like that, I'll have a lot of the song structure. Like I'll have verse, chorus, bridge. I'll have that all together already in my head. But then really just everybody kind of needs to put their pieces in. And then I like when I get feedback from other people in the band when they're like, hey, listen, cut that piece. We need to cut that by a measure, or we need to do this. Or if, the singer needs an extra couple bars, add something to it. It brings the song to life as opposed to me just sitting by myself in a room playing it alone.
Yeah.
Right.
It's much more fun to get people involved.
Right. Super impressive, bro.
Thanks.
But did you have a chance? Did you find it?
No, I still wasn't able to find
No?
it. Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, fans, look
I
that
looked
up.
it,
Look it up on YouTube. Great song. Now, all right. Talk to us about, you can give us as much detail as you want. I know people close to you, obviously, were with you during this time and are familiar with what happened, but for us and our listeners, this will be the first time. So you battled with an illness, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about what it was and what the whole experience was like?
Yeah. So I had severe necrotizing pancreatitis. Basically, half of my pancreas had died. So they had to go in very unexpectedly and remove most of it.
Dang.
Which put me in a medically induced coma for a couple months. Was an entirety of an 8-month hospital stay. And that's including kind of the rehabilitation stint where I had to relearn how to walk and everything. Had a ventilator in, so I couldn't speak for a grand majority of that time when I was back aware after they had kind of woken me up from the coma, which I don't even really, remember waking up specifically. I remember months later when I had kind of actually come to. So yeah, I had to relearn basically everything. Relearn how to walk. I couldn't get up a single step. I couldn't get up when I first was starting to walk.
Dang.
Actually so bad from laying so long, everything atrophies and everything. And the first time they go to actually even sit you up just in the bed, you get lightheaded.
Yeah.
And I passed out. And that was it took days to get over just that, to the point where I was actually able to sit up at my bed, stand up with a walker, and then
It's crazy.
in the rehab spot, we're talking, probably less than 100 yards from where I was to the gym where we had to do the trainings and stuff like that, where they had the bars all set up for me and everything. The first day of that, I made it, to the end of my hallway. I didn't even make it to the gym. It was just, I couldn't. It was physically exhausting. So it took a long time, man. It sucked. It was not a very fun time in life. 0 out of 10 stars. Wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, no.
I did get to skip a bunch of COVID though. So
There you go.
everybody was kind of at home isolated. I was just, in a hospital bed the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Well, what was it like not being able to talk?
frustrating.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that you don't really, there's no real good way to put them into, to articulate them. Because you just want to communicate. You take communication for granted, right? It's just, we're sitting here talking. We've been talking, you know, for this whole time. We're having a whole conversation back and forth. Now just imagine you were trying to have this conversation with me and I had no way of saying it back to you. It's
Yeah, trust me. My best friend ended up with a traumatic brain injury and she had to relearn everything as well. Right down, she was 17 when the accident happened.
Jeez.
So she had to relearn everything as well. And she'd get frustrated and she would hit things. She would get pissed because she couldn't talk. She couldn't communicate. And it was just, it's hard watching people go through it too.
Yeah, I my parents, more power to them. They were amazing through the whole thing. They were there for me on a regular basis. And, my parents were very aware of when I would get frustrated and they would, I tried getting my iPad in because I figured, I'd be able to work on that or something or be able to use that. And apparently, I don't even really remember this. My mom was like, yeah, we had to take it away from you. And you were like we could see you were very upset. You were trying to tell us how mad you were, but
It wasn't actually happening.
there was, it was just frustrating more than it was doing any good. So we had to kind of take it away from you. So yeah, they had to deal with a lot of that, but they were patient enough. They made these little boards. I started out with, the alphabet written out.
Nice.
I was pointing to letters and spelling out what I needed to at first because I couldn't even write.
Right.
And then after a while, I got to the point where I could write stuff, and that made things a little bit easier. But, I was still recovering from major surgery at that point, and there were still emergencies. I still had a thing called an intercannular, which was, kind of down in your throat. And that got plugged one time, and it felt, like I was choking to death, essentially.
Oh, shit.
And I'm trying to communicate this to nurses by, literally writing, I'm dying, I'm choking to death. You need to, and so it's a very difficult thing to try and get across to someone when you're panicking and you can't feel like you breathe, because then you start panicking more, and, of course, you're just getting tighter. And
That's scary, bro.
yeah, there were some real terrifying moments along the way. It's just, it changes your whole perspective on things. It's something I don't think anybody should ever have to go through, hopefully. Again, it wasn't any degree of fun, But out on the other side, it feels a lot different. You know, you feel
Right.
a different type of way about things, even things that still, you still get frustrated about certain things, but the whole perspective on what we're actually doing in life and what's important changes drastically.
Yeah.
Like it's important to spend time with friends and family, enjoy your days, enjoy every time you get to spend those times with family. Just do fun stuff. Like it's just nothing in that life is that serious.
Yes, absolutely.
I had to go to a customer
agree.
once shortly after, and she, I had to kind of curb myself after this because she was upset. She didn't have hot water, and I was in the hospital for 7 months before I
Yeah.
got to take a shower for the first time.
Right.
And I
You're
was
telling
like,
me, lady.
I was like, that's not really a problem, and like I
Be
felt
grateful.
Fortunately, for better or worse, her husband was a doctor, and I knew them fairly well. I had some conversations with them back and forth, and she knew what I meant when I said it. But I was like, I really gotta kind of curb that type of behavior and take it back a little bit, because I can't be aggressively telling someone that they don't have real problems because of what I experienced. So,
But that's understandable, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it does show kind of like a level of some of the issues, some of the things that we just do take for granted every day and bitch and complain about. But
if
like sometimes they're real problems. You know what I'm saying?
But the other thing about it, like it's funny because like it's, I guess not funny, but like the other thing is like it also makes you kind of reflect on the fact that like just because your problem isn't as severe doesn't make it not a problem.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so it's like, it's not because a couple people have mentioned stories about friends and family, which has been great. It's actually been kind of a nice thing because I've gotten to engage with people who have had friends who have had issues and things like that.
Yeah.
But then, they always tend to go to this like place where they're like, but it wasn't as bad as what you went through. And I'm like, it's not a competition.
No.
If it was, I won. But it's
Hands
not,
down.
I'm just,
Besides point.
right. No, but jokingly, I'll, kind of try and bring them back to it because it's not really about that.
Yeah.
But like the thing that, like, if anybody can learn anything from it is like just, imagine the frustration of, not being able to walk up one step. Like it's just, stuff that you take for granted. And you see people who have these, afflictions and things like that. In the center I was in, where I was doing my rehabilitation work, there were people who were just never going to get that ability back. Like, and that's like the
My
saddest
friend
thing.
is probably one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
it's tough. It's such a difficult thing to deal with. It's and you said 17?
Yeah,
Like,
she was 17 at the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, not a fun experience. Hopefully it made me into a better person these days. I'm not allowed to have any sugar, which kind of is a bummer, but
Hey.
that's not the worst thing, I guess.
yeah.
So
Could be worse.
Nah, your body will thank you for that.
yeah, probably in the long run.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How long did it take you to be able to start gaining enough strength to be able to take those steps or to be able to walk?
So I had the most amazing, if Emily and Kasha are listening to this, the people who rehabilitated me, the two nurses there, they were amazing. I think they probably will listen to this because we're still friends, which is
Shout
great.
out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. They got me up every day moving and walking around like without fail. I mean, it's what they get paid to do. So
Right,
they
right,
kinda
but-
had to, but
Some of those people do care in a sense more than others, for sure.
100%. And these two were rock stars. I mean, they just like, they knew exactly how much they could push me because I'm one of those people like just, as we were there, I was laser focused, right? I had a purpose. I wanted to get the fuck out of there. Like I
Right.
didn't want to be
Yeah.
there anymore. Like, so there were things that were annoying and frustrating to deal with, and they knew how much to push it. And, they would constantly be checking in with me. They're like, are you tired? And I'm like, I'm never going to tell you that I'm tired. I'm like, I'm just going to keep going until I fall down, because if I fall down here, you guys have to deal with it. Someone has to get me back to my room.
It's really
Like,
not my problem.
right. Like, it's just like, but I'm going to keep going. So like, if you guys notice something, like you guys deal with this all the time. So like, if you guys notice something that's going wrong, like just tell me that I need to relax.
Yeah.
But they did such a great job with that. It took, all in all, I'm just over a year being out, and I'm just now to a point where I feel fairly confident. Like I don't really think about this stuff anymore, but it took a solid year before like walking upstairs and things like that wasn't a very conscious effort for me or something that I like really had to kind of focus on. I was able to do it, but like even when I got out of the rehab facility, I had a cane for months.
Yeah.
Just because I was weak, you know, it's just, there was nothing to be done there. Yeah.
That's so wild, bro. It's
Yeah.
such a crazy story. You said that it kind of came out of nowhere, unexpected.
Yeah. I just, one day I stopped eating. I wasn't really feeling great. I didn't really have any kind of symptoms of anything. And, I went to my doctor after like probably longer than I should have. It was probably a couple days, because the first day, like, you don't eat something for a day and you're just like, I just wasn't feeling that well, whatever.
Yeah.
Then the second day I'm like, maybe I'm just, maybe I got a flu or something like that. So, you're like, I'll try some toast or something like that. And, you get down to half a piece of toast and you're like, I'll be fine. And by day 3, it's like worrisome. You're like,
yeah, it's a little
shit,
concerning.
like I really need to have eaten something. And then you start to feel weak. So I saw my doctor. He gave me some anti-nausea medication. He was like, see if this will help. I'm like, I'm not really feeling nauseous. I'm like, I just can't eat. It's a very weird feeling. Like I just can't make myself eat food. And then he was like, all right, go get some blood work. So I did that. He called me that Sunday, as soon as the blood work got to him, apparently. And he was like the Monopoly man. He's like, go directly to the hospital. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. I was like, oh, I can go tomorrow. And he's like, I'm calling you on
now.
He's like, it's Sunday and I'm calling you. Like, what do you think that means? He's like, if I thought it could wait till tomorrow during my regular office hours, don't you think that's what I would have done? And I'm like, huh? Yeah, good point. So went to the hospital. They did a couple tests locally at St. Luke's, and they were like, yeah, this ain't us. And put me in an ambulance, took me down to the city. I was there for a couple weeks, and then they came in the one night and were like, yeah, we're going to put you in a coma. And I was like, oh, cool.
You guys made that decision all by yourselves, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because a lot of it is a blur because they had me on medication and stuff like that. So I don't know entirely exactly, how this all went down. But of course,
doesn't sound like you had a choice.
Well, that was exactly like, I think, like, in my mind, because I'm this type of person who like I always want to question something. Like, I feel like when they came in, I was like, are we going to discuss this? And then like 4 or 5 other doctors walk in who look like they're about to do some things. And I'm like, I guess not. And they're like, yeah, it's not really optional. We don't do this for fun.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Were you at all nervous?
I was terrified. Yeah. I thought I was going to die. Yeah. 100%. Like,
about being told to be.
You're being put into a fucking coma.
Like,
yeah, that's exactly it. Like, it just, you don't, the instant thought, of course, at that point, I think for most people, it was for me anyway. I don't necessarily know, but how other people experienced it. But I was like, yeah, I'm just not going to wake up. Like, you don't think you're going to wake up when someone tells you they're going to put you in a coma.
Shut your brain down for however long.
Right, yeah, we're just going to shut you down. I'm like, well, that's it, right? Then there's not.
Great. Just take the battery right out of the fucking car. Cool.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, the good thing is I tell people I'm only half a year older than I was. I'm like a car that you store in the garage.
There you go. That's fucking funny.
Tossed me away for 8 months, so I'm actually a half year younger. So, yeah, worked out pretty well.
That's what's up. Man, that's crazy though, bro. It's definitely an experience, a wild experience, right? I'm sure. I don't even know what was going on in your head during this whole process, but was your main focus on getting better? Or, you're a rock star, bro. You play the guitar. Did you ever have any thoughts or thinking like, shit, I'm never going to be able to do that again?
Yeah, that was actually, so there's a good majority of it that I just don't remember.
Right.
I mean, it's just, even, when I was out of the coma, and they had me, fairly drugged up, and whatever mix of medications and stuff like that. I don't really remember a good period of time. I remember like in and outs of like trying to communicate through the iPad and things like that. And I very much remember my hand would shake so bad as I was trying. That's why I couldn't write or anything like that. So I 100% remember, and this is the weirdest thing, because like I vividly remember wondering if I was going to play guitar again. I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Right.
so
And you were
crazy.
like, how about the arms, though?
Yeah, I was
Hands.
like, yo, can I shred though? Like, like it was just, yeah, it was, I don't know why that was such like a prevalent thought for me. It was just, but it was legitimately a thing that I thought about more so than, because I always like, there was a part of me, and I guess this is maybe inspiring or good, hopefully. I don't know. But there was always a part of me I was like, I'm getting up out of this bed. Like, it's just like, I don't think I really realized how, like, atrophied my legs had become.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, once I'm done healing, once they're done with the wound and care and stuff like that, I'm like, I'm just going to get up and walk out of here, right? Yeah, right. But that's just, for some reason, like,
Right.
in my brain, I think that's what was going on, where I was like, that's why I was more worried about the guitar, and even still, like, it was like more there than even talking for some reason. It was weird. I think a lot of it, had to do with the fact that I was so heavily drugged and I wasn't really aware of things, because the priority should not have been, learning Sweet Child of Mine. You know what I mean? Like, that's not number one on the list.
I remember my friend, she had been put into the medically induced coma, and at one point they had just pumped her so full of fluids and her skin was all puffed up, it just filled with it, and she was just, and watch her come out of that. But one thing I always wanted to ask her that she still isn't there enough for me to ask her, while you were in the coma, do you dream? Or do you remember any dreams?
So it's tough for me to say, because I
know you said you were kind of, so.
Yeah, well, so I had dreams. I actually, not necessarily funny. I don't know. They know the story now, but my parents, I thought they were getting divorced while I was in there. Like, I was convinced, like, that my dad was living with friends of our family. Like, it made no sense, because it was a dream that happened, but I think I was out of the coma at this point, because at some point I had asked, my mom was like, is that why you kept asking if we were okay? Like, she was like, you were really concerned at one point. And I was like, yeah, legitimately, like, I thought you guys, like, I thought something had gone terrible. And my parents are rock solid,
I was
right?
about to say, still together today and everything?
Yeah.
Awesome.
My parents,
Good.
yeah, they're good. Like, they have a great relationship. So it was very weird. But like, my dad was, like, in my mind living with friends of our families, not even just like their friend's parents who live in Florida, but their house was here in New York somehow. Like, so it was like, but they were on a beach in Florida still. Like, it was such a surreal, like, dream state. So, like, that stuff happened. There were a couple other instances of things I remember, but I don't remember whether I was actually, I was so unaware that I don't know whether I was actually in the coma for those parts.
Right.
I think that I was at some point, but I can't say for sure.
All right, that's
a lot
fair.
of people have asked that question.
I think it's a pretty common question people would get. Yeah,
and it's a strange thing.
Good question.
Yeah. It's a strange thing, because I don't know. I'd be interested to find out people who had shorter experiences from, like, maybe being in a coma to recovery time.
Yeah, hers
I
was
had
just
a lot of
about as
time.
long as yours. And I was just about to say, one thing I always said was, I just wonder, where does one's mind go during that time, So it's definitely it's a phenomena of sorts, I guess.
Yeah, I wish I had a better answer. I mean, I think it would be probably from somebody who, maybe due to an accident or something had a coma and then, came out and had a shorter road to recovery. But
she slipped into one just from her accident, but they put her into a medically induced one to allow her brain to try to reduce swelling.
Yeah,
so
sure.
that's but
Damn.
fun times.
yeah.
That's sarcasm. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, well, you're a warrior in this game called life, and your story is inspirational, bro.
Absolutely.
And we're thankful that
It's
you're
not
still
easy
here.
stuff.
Yeah, I really, as I talk to people about it, there was a guy who was across from me in the rehab center, and one day we got to talking. I didn't really particularly care for his attitude, because anytime any of the nurses would come in, he would just tell them how he couldn't do things, and he's like, I can't do that. That's not the way I work, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. I was getting out in a couple days, and he was like, yeah, I heard you're getting out, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I just did what they told me to do. Like, whether I thought I could or couldn't, like, they're the professionals here. And, like,
they're telling you to fucking try.
Well, I was kind of like, I didn't want to, like, be down on the guy, but I was, like, also, kind of trying to, like,
Drop some knowledge.
yeah. Like, and I was like, and
inspire, if you will.
yeah. And, and he was like, yeah, I hear you, man. And I was like,
No, you
I
don't.
don't think you do. But
Good
like
luck.
when I talk to people about this, because I do fairly regularly, people are very interested in it, and as they should be. It's a weird thing. It's not something you run across every day, but like I hope that like people just take the moment and think about it, and like just you got to work at these things. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, you can't just sit there. It's never going to work. Like this guy was just like, he's probably still there, like because he just wasn't willing to put in any time and effort
Right.
to it. Like
It's all about that aftercare and the rehabilitation after.
yeah,
For sure.
The positive mindset and the strength to keep going. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you're a perfect example of it, bro.
it's the right support system too. The people around me, it's my family, my friends. Like it's just, I can't tell you how many friends of mine, drove my parents back and forth to the city to see me. Like even when they couldn't see me, like because there was only 2 hours a day that people could come visit me.
Yeah.
So my friends would drive my mom to the city. My mom would see me for the 2 hours, and then they would drive her home. Like those like friends and family were doing that on a regular basis. Like, and you can't do something like this without that. So
Right. That's love. Shout out to everybody.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Support system.
So, last few questions before we let you go, bro. Let's shift it back a little to the music.
Cool.
All right?
Yeah, I love
give us 3 musical artists you're currently listening to.
So I just did. Let's see. I'm listening to right now the new Cave-In that just came out this week. I can't decide whether it's good or not. I like it personally. That's a band that I would recommend that everybody go and listen to. They're pretty cool. I've been listening to a lot of Knock Loose, which is super heavy, chuggy music. And then if you want a recommendation for something kind of a little bit lighter, I've been listening to this group called Foxing. And they're pretty good too. Aside from that, I'm going to give you some bonus local bands you should be listening to.
Yeah, plug them up.
There's a band called Hudson. Those guys are awesome. There's a band called Healthy Scratch locally. Those guys are also awesome. My cousin has a band called With the Punches. They are releasing an album on the 27th. They are back after a 10-year hiatus.
Oh, shit.
If you like pop punk, Newfound Glory, like they're right up that alley. Those guys, they're awesome. They're playing a series of shows coming up. It's going to be fun. Actually, the Hudson is playing with them. Locally, my boys in Junket, they are great. Go listen to them. We've been playing a bunch of shows with them. St. Wade Vincent. Most recently, we played with that band Kingston Kane that I had mentioned earlier. These are all bands that are locally, obviously my bands, too. You can listen. I'll plug them at the end. But go listen to all those bands. Find local bands. Support local bands. If there's people playing local original music, go out and see it. Like, it's fun to be in that environment. Like, even if you don't know the songs, just go out and hang out, check out the bands.
Jam, vibe.
Yeah, buy some of their merch. Like, most of them do it for we don't get paid anything to do this. So those are a couple local bands that I really highly recommend everybody go check out. They're super fun.
Nice. Support local music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, real quick, Rob, how do you want the world to remember you, Robert Mahoney?
Ooh. As awesome. I don't know.
That's a good answer.
Just actually, it's funny. This is kind of a weird thing. It's a great question because, so my friend Dustin, who is in the band With the Punches, someone asked him like what they thought I was doing right now. My nickname is The Beast. And so my friend said, "What do you think The Beast is doing?" They were doing like an Ask Me Anything on there. And of course he knows, we're friends. And he goes, I like to think he's out there doing good for somebody, doing something good in the world. And I was like, yeah, that's really touching and awesome. Like, so, yeah, that would be cool. I mean, just if people just remember me as a genuinely good, fun person, that's enough for me. And then if I get known for playing guitar and writing music and people like my songs and listen to them, that's icing. That's even better.
There you go.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah, you're super talented. You got a hell of a story. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, Sarah, anything else?
No, I think we pretty much covered it all.
All right. Cool. All right, Rob. Thanks so much for coming on. It's all relative. We
Yes,
greatly
thank you for being
appreciate
here.
it.
Yeah,
It's
thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Anyone or anything that you want to plug or shout out?
Yeah, if you want to follow my band on Instagram, that's probably the best spot to follow us. It's Rubixx Music, Rubixx Music. On Instagram, you can follow me at Robert Zerbe, and Zerbe is Z as in zebra, ERBE. And I do a lot of promotion for that band and a couple other bands that I kind of am working with. So, yeah, those are really it. That's where I'm at. I'm too old for TikTok, so I think Instagram is probably the best spot to find me.
Nice. You guys got any shows coming up?
Nothing booked right now, actually.
Okay.
We had a show that was supposed to come up next weekend, but it kind of fell through. I'm not exactly what the reasons are, but if you keep an eye on that, we've got a show coming up at Tapped in Middletown. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's probably still a month or so away.
Okay.
But if you follow us, Rubixx Music on Instagram, or if you follow me, Robert Zerbe, we post about them as they're coming up. Those are the best spots to find out when our dates are coming up.
All right.
Nice.
Come out and see us. Buy our merch. We got a Game Boy sticker.
Yeah, super dope. Sarah, you want to hit them with your social?
Yeah, absolutely. My Instagram is Sarah with 2 H's _Molnar with 2 R's, and Molnar is MOLNAR. And my TikTok is Sarah J Molnar.
All right. And you guys can always find me at Josh_Toth3. That is my Instagram. And my Facebook is Joshua Toth. The message option on Anchor, use it.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes, talk to us. Let us know feedback, what you would like to hear, what your favorite episodes are, stuff like that. We want to know.
That's right. There's an audio option menu. Just click the button and you can leave an audio message. We'll play it back on the next episode, so you'll hear yourself live. You'll be on the next episode. And if it's a question, we'll answer it. Like Sarah had mentioned, if it's a shout out, whatever. Use the audio. Big shout out to Stellar Sound and Media and our editor, Jackson Wallace. Also, real quick, I want to shout out a YouTuber, I guess, called Leon. That's his name.
Leon.
He sent us a message or a comment on one of our episodes through YouTube.
Okay.
I believe it was a positive thing because the emojis and whatnot were all good. But like, my man, if you want to expand a little on what you were saying,
yeah, that'd be good. We need some words.
I tried to press the translation button and whatnot, and that shit was still the same. So
all right, well, shout out to him.
Yes. But Sarah, you want to remind everyone where they can find us at?
Yeah, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and Google. And we are still working on that Twitter account. Just stay tuned for that.
All right. That's a wrap. Rob, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. This was super
Absolutely.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Stay safe, stay kind, stay proud and powerful, and we'll see everyone soon. Peace.
Peace out.
From my dad, like he sent me like a